Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Fighting financial scams wherever they take place. Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Talking Real Money. I am high atop a building in the scam capital of America.
And when you
Spokane,
say hi,
Washington.
When you say high atop a building, one word comes to mind, but I won't say it. So it starts with a J.
This is the state of Washington.
Yes. No, it's jump. Anyway, that's
J.
all.
Jump.
Yeah.
You know, they bolted the windows in the hotel.
Yeah.
They're all bolted closed, so I can't put my cape on and jump out the window to fly through the air and fight the scams.
Ooh, now that's a good spin.
I know. Isn't that good?
So you are in the, and this is sad, we just learned this recently, what is called by Forbes magazine, the scam capital of the world?
Of the world.
Wow.
And they named it such at least 3 times that I can find.
Yeah, 2011, I know that, because that's the article I read.
2008, 2011, and then once back in 1998.
There you go.
Oh, wow, look at that, my little desk rings.
But don't let that impede your quest for knowledge, your need for help.
No,
that's why we're here.
We're here to fight financial scams.
Gosh.
That's one of the big purposes. We're here to fight financial scams, to give you the truth, to tell you the truth about how money and investing work, and to help you avoid getting yourself into trouble financially so that you can build a portfolio of real wealth based on science to enjoy a better future. That's our purpose. And to that end, we like to help you with your particular issues, which is why we let you call. Or we encourage you to call. The number is 877-397-5666, 877-397-5666. And Tom and I are manning those phones 2 hours a day, 1 day a week. Not 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just 2 hours a day, 1 day a week. Saturday, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, so call us then. That's Tom over there, by the way.
Yeah, and so, I mean, this always gets back to...
In Seattle.
Yeah, in Seattle. I'm here in Seattle, you're in Spokane. This always gets... So, yes, we're happy to answer your questions. We want to help you with whatever issues, as you said, you face. But this whole aspect of knowing enough to protect yourself, getting an education, understanding things to, at least to the extent that you can protect yourself. So when you get something in the mail that is shiny, it's beautiful, it says retirement on it.
Retirement class.
And retirement
right there.
class, and there's a wonderful picture of a local
Wait, let me open it up for everyone at home to see.
Campus on it.
Oh, wait, no, only you.
Yeah, I mean, I opened this. I'm in the business. I opened this, and I thought, wow, this guy's doing a class at the University of Washington in Bothell, which is not far from...
It came to your home.
Not far. Yeah, it came to my... Not far from where I live. Apparently, they don't know who I am, or maybe they do, and they think I need the class. But, so I read through this, and there's nice, beautiful pictures of people in there smiling.
May I comment on that?
Yes, please do.
When Tom first showed this to me, he hadn't read it yet completely. He just got it, and he goes, I can't believe this. He said, you're going to love this, because he knows I love this kind of stuff, because I just live to research these guys. And he said, I want to know how they got around the rule forbidding endorsements. You see, if you're a registered investment advisor by the SEC, you are not allowed to have anyone endorse you. And this thing is full of pictures of smiling, happy people, and they look like they're endorsements. But if you read closer, they say things like, we don't think we have nearly enough for retirement. So many options.
I think one of them said
confusing.
something about vacation at Chelan or something.
Yes, one guy said lovin' Chelan.
Yeah, I was like, what does that have to do with anything?
But it's because they have quotes under pictures, and we don't read things carefully.
No, you look at it and think,
your
wow.
first inclination is to think endorsement, endorsement, endorsement. So a little later on in the program, you want to stick around for this, because I did a ton of research on the guy who is teaching this class.
And we're going to have to put class in air quotations because it turns out that it's The other quotation should be what would be called a pitch, as in sale pitch.
877-397-5666. And Lori, you're up next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing great. How can we help you today?
I just have a quick question. I've heard you guys say different things about different companies, and my husband and I are getting ready to retire. We have about $700,000 in our plan, and I just want to know what your take is on New York Life.
I think they
Do you want
write
me to-
great insurance policies, but I would not hire them to manage money.
Do you honestly think
Okay.
that?
Okay.
I think you're just saying that to be nice.
Okay, go ahead. Don?
Well, one, it's
I don't know what their
it's a-
rating is. I'd have to go look, but yes.
It's a totally high commissioned company for the most part.
Okay.
I wouldn't go to New York Life for even a life insurance policy personally, because I know I can very likely find better deals elsewhere for life insurance.
Okay.
As for investments, I would shun them like I would shun someone with the plague coughing in my face.
Well, this is a good opportunity. Yeah, no, here we'll give you the reasons why. Number one would be: are you always getting fiduciary advice?
Wait, are you ever getting
in this
fiduciary
case,
advice from New York
yeah.
Life?
And by the way,
Ever.
they're the company. The insurance side is rated AAA, which is very good, of course. But Jason Zweig wrote a great piece about this today in the Wall Street Journal, because this whole aspect of fiduciary. And by the way, you probably go see your New York Life person, and they're going to say, "Of course, I'm a fiduciary." Until I sell
Put it
you
in
this
writing.
this product. And that's what Jason said. If you read the Wall Street Journal today, he said, ask people the following questions. Number one, are you always a fiduciary? And will you state that in writing? As Don just said, get it written down. Does anybody else pay you? He said that was the other one. In other words, if you go to a fee-only advisor, only the client pays the advisor. When you go to New York Life, we don't always know where the money, if there's kickbacks or whatever, there's other relationships that may influence that person to put you in a certain investment that might not be in your best interest. That's what we're trying to get to.
What
Okay.
kind? I mean, so are you with them right now, or are they just trying to
No,
talk you
we have
into
our-
moving your rollover over?
Yeah, we're thinking about moving our rollover over there.
No, please stop.
Okay.
I will get down on my
I'm
knees
going
right
for. I
here in the
don't
scam capital of America and beg you to not go with New York Life.
Okay.
I seriously want you to never, ever, ever consider an insurance agent for an investment vehicle, ever, one. Two,
Okay.
I want you to vet carefully the people with whom you work. That is probably the most difficult thing for most people to do, because it requires throwing out this concept of relationships, other prior relationships with people, and making it a purely business decision. You need a fee only. You have enough money. You have $750,000. You have
Yes,
enough
we do.
money to hire a fee only 100% fiduciary investment advisor.
Okay.
That is not necessarily one of
fiduciary advisor.
Yeah, and by the way, we could send you
100% fiduciary.
we could send you to a website where you could find people that do that. If you have a pen, I'll give you a website.
Yes,
That
I
is
do.
that's dfaus.com. D as in dog, F as in Frank, U as in I forget, Don.
and there's a little gray box in the corner.
dfaus.com, and up in the corner there's a gray box, and what does it say? It says search.
Well, it actually has three things rotating through it. You have to wait for the third.
Which
I told DFA to take out the letter from the chairman.
Nobody cares about. Sorry, David.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The third choice is find an advisor near you. These are advisors who follow what we believe, which is you use academic research to build portfolios. You build them based on people's tolerance for risk. You charge as little as you can possibly
and
charge.
no commissions, because commissions set up a total conflict. And I can almost guarantee you whatever product your New York Life person uses is going to involve a commission of some kind. I'm betting today, but we saw this in the office earlier today, that they will want to put your retirement assets in some sort of annuity, because you're going to feel good about the fact that I get a guarantee. And the
Right,
guarantee
yes.
that Don is going to talk about later in the show is so tiny that it just makes no sense to do it
Was
that
it an
way.
indexed annuity, Lori, or did they talk about a variable annuity? Do you remember the
You
terminology?
know, I just know that if we don't touch it for 8 years, we're guaranteed to have the $700,000 in there regardless. We can take 10% a year. But
Well, one, you can't take 10% a year and have 700,000. What they're doing is they're mixing their sales pitches. You see, what they're
Right.
saying is you have to stay in it for 8 years because that's the
Right.
surrender charge. What's the first year surrender charge? Was it about 8, 10, 7? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Yeah. You'd
Well,
have to
look at the documents. Whatever the first year surrender charge is generally how much the agent gets in a commission.
Okay.
Which is why they charge that. What the 10% he's talking about is that you can take 10% per year out without penalty, but that doesn't mean you can get a 10% per year income from it because that is totally and utterly impossible. Insurance agents lie with, and I wish this wasn't the case, but they are capable of lying with absolute impunity on these products because no customer ever sits down and reads the entire 200-page disclosure document.
Right, and he said that. He said there's a 300 anyway.
300
He'll
page?
probably never read.
You'll never, exactly,
He
which
probably
allows him to lie to you, which he kind of did in this case by saying you can get 700,000 out. Yeah, of course, but you're going to pay an extra fee for that guarantee that it won't go below $700,000 in 8 years. Now, if you put $700,000 8 years ago in a diversified portfolio of stocks and bonds, today you'd have $1.2 million, $1.3 million.
Wow.
And
Today,
the best way to go would be maybe that way.
The best way to go is to get a true fee-only advisor who will tell you the truth. And again, make sure they're 100% fee-only. And to help you do that, I created a one little sheet of paper that's at talkingrealmoney.com. It's the advisor interview form. It will make your advisor very uncomfortable, but it should make you very comfortable with the selection you'll eventually make if you can get somebody to fill it out and sign it. Thanks for the call. And speaking of selling bad annuity products, the class we talked about before, Tom, this retirement class at, you should be ashamed of yourself, the University of Washington,
Bothell campus. Yep.
You should be ashamed for allowing this to happen. What is the scam behind all this, Thomas?
Well, the scam is you go there believing you're going to get an education, and what you really get is an annuity product.
A sales pitch for which annuity product?
Well, am I going to say the company?
No, what kind of a product?
Oh, pardon me. There's going to be an equity index annuity, variable annuity product, something where the pitch is always the same. Guarantee, but you get a part of the market increase. So you don't have to worry about your money anymore because you're going to get it back paid out in this annuity, and you get a part of the market return.
You mean I get market-like returns with no risk?
This is the part where it gets just to be a little gray because you give us the numbers. It's not very market-like, I'll put it that way.
I love this. There's a guy online, and I love the fact that people online save me doing some of this research. There's a guy online who did a complete, incredibly boring but wonderful analysis of a product called the Allianz Master Dex X.
This is I looked this up after we had our chat. It's a very popular annuity.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This annuity, they give you, you put your money in, and they tell you you're going to get the return of the S&P 500 with no risk on the downside. Well, one, you don't get the total return of the S&P 500 at all because you only get the growth, not the dividends. But it is so convoluted. It is so complicated. But when you boil it all down to its essence, and I want to use 2009 as an example.
Because that's a year that people should remember. I mean, 2008, we had the huge collapse. The market started coming back in like March of 2009.
And for sake of argument, the return of the S&P 500 less the dividends was about 26.5% for that year.
Pretty good year.
It was about 30-something with the dividends,
yeah.
But 26.5. So had you chosen, they have three things you get to choose from. Now, first, you're not going to know what these are at all when you hear the names. One, you could choose the monthly sum method. Two, you could choose the annual point-to-point method. Or you could choose the monthly average. The monthly average would be the monthly average of the market. So with the monthly sum method, you add up every month of the year, the returns, and then you divide it by 12. And under that method, in 2009, with this annuity, you would have made $0.
Boy, that makes sense because the market was only up 26.5.
Right, you would have made zero.
Sure.
With number two, the annual point-to-point,
yes,
you would have made 1.5%.
Okay, we're doing better here now.
And with the monthly average, where you take the monthly average return of the S&P 500, you get that, which was 7.5%. But they get a spread. They deduct every time. They deduct 5%. So your average annual return would have been 2.5% per year. Who made out under this scenario? It wasn't you. Yes, you would have lost nothing in 2008, but you would have gained, in essence, nothing in 2009.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Hi there. Welcome back to the show. I'm Don McDonald. Over there's Tom Cock. And I just want to go back to the class for a minute because I do love the fact that the guy who's conducting this class actually kind of told the truth in his ADV, his disclosure form that he files with the SEC. This is one of the more important sections of a Form ADV. You can look them up online at advisorinfo.sec.gov, advisorinfo.sec.gov. You can look up any advisor's Form ADV brochure. And in his, under item 5, which is the fees and commission section, he does say, commissions are received by us if you choose to purchase an insurance product. The insurance sales are not investment advisory in nature. Duh. And they know you're not going to read this, by the way. An example of a commission schedule for an annuity follows. Sample product, Allianz fixed indexed annuity. Mm-hmm. Range of commissions, 3 to 7% paid. Followed by, this is only an example. Right, it's a bad example because the Allianz indexed annuity that I just showed you had a 10% first year or initial commission or first year surrender charge. So
that gets back to Lori's call. We're going to get to George in just a second here. But you walk in the door with $700,000. Now,
right.
You know the guy or woman or person sitting across the desk could make between $50,000 and $70,000.
Yeah.
So do you think, this whole conflict this industry is set up. Would they tell you just go buy index funds? They're going to pay them very, very little or nothing. Or buy this annuity that's going to pay them between $50,000 and $70,000. If I was sitting in that chair, this would be impossible. You can see why this anyway. We'll spend more time on that coming. It's shocking.
I love this stuff. I do. I love it. I just love it. I love it because I like to expose them. I hate it because of what it does to you.
Indeed.
And speaking of you, George, you're up next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Hi, Don. Tom. It seems years ago I heard you say, Don, to just ignore these mutual fund proxy things.
The mutual fund proxy things that you get, I don't ever fill mine out.
Voting on people that are going to be
boards of directors, because I know that my mutual funds are now not with Actively Managed. I don't really care, but it really didn't, unless there was something big that they were fighting over. It really didn't make a hill of beans a difference. The board that was selected is almost always the board that is elected. So I never turn them in.
Different than the old days, by the way, when you used to have a separate group.
Yeah,
right.
But the reason I called is Vanguard's got this thing right now. It's not just voting on people. They got some, I don't know if you've seen it yet, where they got you voting to change the funds. And it sounds like a bad thing, but maybe it's a good thing. They're saying you change it from a diversified funds to non-diversified funds. Have you seen that?
I recall getting something in the last few days from acorns.com that uses Vanguard about this. I don't believe that I've read the details on that. So I'd have to really get into the middle of this, George. I'd have to sit down and go through that proxy.
Check it out and let us know next week.
Yeah, because
I
haven't seen that proxy either. Did you just get it? Did you just get it?
A few days ago.
Yeah, I do recall getting it from Acorns because I believe some of the
I'm on the road, so I'm sure it's in a pile of mail at my house. So I'll read it when I get home.
Okay. Anyway, it sounded like at this time it might be something important.
Well, let's put it another way. This would be the kind of thing that if Vanguard indeed was making some structural type of change about all this, not bragging, but we are kind of on top of all those sorts of things. We work with people at Vanguard, so we would have been notified. But we will definitely look into this to see if we can find anything out. I'm looking online here real quick.
I am too, and I'm not finding a thing.
Well, I find that there is a vote here coming up shortly, a proxy statement. Anyway, so we'll look into all this. Yeah.
Thanks, George. We'll keep you posted.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Let me quote directly from Vanguard. Vanguard is proposing to reclassify the REIT index fund, the Real Estate Investment Trust Index Fund, from diversified to non-diversified as defined by securities law. The change enables them to better replicate the actual market based on market capitalization. It's just a technical change to bring it in line with the law so that they can improve, they say, the diversification, which sounds perfectly governmental to me. You need to become non-diversified to diversify.
Yeah, I mean, this gets back to a little bit about trust, because at the end of the day, we have recommended Vanguard for a very long time because we do trust the way they manage. Now, I know they've got some actively managed funds, and we only recommend their index funds, but as an organization, I trust them. So I again, when they send me the proxy, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to go along with whatever you're suggesting.
Yeah, and in this case, really, truly, what they're doing is they're trying to align all their funds. Most of their equity funds already are classified under the SEC and Internal Revenue Service Code as non-diversified. It is a technicality in the law I don't understand, and I don't pretend to understand.
And if you own their, global fund, Vanguard Total World Stock Index, you have 7,500 stocks. That's pretty diversified. I can guarantee you that's more diversified than about 99% of you. So,
and this only applies to sector funds, and the REIT is a sector
fund, which has been a good place.
Again,
REITs is something you should own. But back to what you just said about the nice guy thing, because this came up this week. I've been trying to help a woman escape from her broker for about a year and a half. She's a very kind person, and the broker was somebody that was recommended to her by her family, and she's been using this broker for about 8 or 9 years. And she knows that he's charging her a lot. She knows the products that she's in probably are underperforming the market because they're not diversified, because they're expensive, all those things. And she wants to move the money from there to somewhere else. But here's where she's stuck. She's stuck because she knows the broker is going to
hurt his feelings.
Exactly, but she knows the broker is going to get upset. And I have seen this so many times in this industry where, and shame on the broker for doing this, where the person calls and says, I'm going to move my money from you to Vanguard, and the broker has a big fit and acts like this is an outrage. How could you do this to me? Okay, so I'm going to give you a little advice along these lines, okay?
How could you do this to me?
That's what you get this line. First of all, to the brokers, this shame on you, shame on your company, and frankly, sad for us, shame on the industry, because this money is not your money, broker. It's their money, okay? And this is how you should feel. Don alluded to this earlier. This is a business relationship, okay? And sometimes business relationships don't work out for whatever reason. And in your case, you've said, I don't want active management. I don't want high expense. I want to use index funds, so I'm going to move my money. So you need to then say thank you. And by the way, the broker should thank you for the years that they've collected all these fees. So
for bad advice.
Whatever the advice has been. So
bad.
Exactly. So don't feel bad. This is your money at the end of the day. It's not their money. Don't allow them to make you feel bad about that. Take your money and do with it as you wish.
Do you know why they have a fit? Do you know why?
No, go ahead.
Because they don't have a good argument. They don't have a good argument.
Other than the emotional, this is
right.
This is going to kill me. And
I just have to make you feel bad. Yeah. I have to make you feel bad. I saw this back in 1985 when I was a broker, 84, 85 with Dean Witter. My office manager was a pro at guilting and emotionally manipulating his clients, and he would scream at them on the phone. He would scream. He knew just which ones to play the soft hand with and which ones to play the rigid, hard. I can't believe you would do this. You're such an idiot. Just horrible manipulation. And that's exactly what your broker is doing to you if you decide to make a smart choice and stop paying a fortune for generally mediocre at best to bad advice. Almost never. Folks, I've been in this industry for a really, really long time. I was a broker for a long time. Shame on me. I was a national talk show host taking hundreds of calls a week from people with problems with their broker. You got to believe me on this. I have experience coming out my ears. These folks don't care about you. They care about their bottom line and their family. Think about that for a minute. They care about their bottom line and their family. You need somebody who isn't, and they're few and they're far between, but you got to find them, people who actually work for you and look out for what are called your best interests. That's what fiduciary means. Someone who looks out for your best interest. And most of the people who claim to be fiduciaries, I just want to scream. They're not fiduciaries. As a matter of fact, this dude,
I loved Jason Zweig's article today. He says, they're going to clean all this up. How about the next time we get a major eclipse? It'll be all straightened out and easy to understand by then.
This dude who put out this little folder for the class at the University of Washington, Bothell, he says right here, you will find his initials are JD. JD. You will find JD providing exceptional capitalized fiduciary capitalized services. The first thing JD says in his ADV under fees is that, oh, by the way, I probably won't act as a fiduciary, but
I'm going to collect a big commission. And you point out, at least he's honest enough to say, yeah, I could sell you a product where I will collect a large commission. Yeah, but in his
sales document, he says he's a fiduciary. And JD, dude, I challenge you. Call me up and tell me you're always a fiduciary. Come on. You know who you are, JD.
He's listening.
You
right
do.
Now. All right.
You run a scammy little operation. You're lying to people. And JD, you are no fiduciary. And to teach University of Washington Bothell, by the way, if you're listening, the guy is almost making it appear that you are sponsoring this class.
I, like you, I've been around, and when I opened it, I was sure he was, because it has a beautiful picture of the campus. It's got it says class all over. It's like, wow, that looks like he's a professor or something. No,
exactly. But I went and looked a little more closely. It turns out any idiot can rent a classroom at University of Washington Bothell.
Before we go on, by the way, somebody called and wanted the website where they can go sign up for any class.
TalkingRealMoney.com.
TalkingRealMoney.com. And I mentioned the class we've got Tuesday. We've got another one coming up in Olympia, so get registered.
Oh,
right?
and we can now officially announce the very first ever Retire Meet is an event we've done for the past couple of years in Bellevue, and we always sell it out. Total sellout every year. It's a great event. So we're bringing Retire Meet to Tacoma, so folks on the south end don't have to drive as far.
That is Saturday, October 28th. All of those events, this Tuesday is the 12th of September in Olympia, and the 28th are all up at TalkingRealMoney.com. And you go right to the top of the page, and it says go to events.
There's all kinds of places. There's a calendar down a little further too. And I know some people at home are going, well, what's the difference between that class and the class that the guy's teaching over at University of Washington Bothell?
Oh, about $80,000.
About $80,000.
Something around that area.
Or what about, let's see, an actual class versus a sales pitch for an indexed annuity?
You come to one of ours. We will show you. We really do. How to build your own retirement portfolio. We give you the mutual funds, right? We will show you the things you need to pay attention to around Social Security. We will actually show you, here's how to create retirement income. But at the end, we don't just say, and now for your private session where we'll talk to you one-on-one to help you. No, you don't get sold an annuity.
What does he call it?
It's you know what?
Reach down here and get it. He's got three 2-hour classes.
The private one-on-one session,
Don. Bonus help session.
Oh, yeah. Big help.
Get a confidential one-on-one help session in our office that is all about you.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to this. This session is not meant to put a strain on relationships you have, but rather to answer concerns privately.
Yeah, because you don't have to tell the broker you're leaving to go to the insurance agent that you're hiring.
JD,
the
JD,
class,
JD,
the class.
Very clever, clever, JD, very clever.
It does.
But the other thing is you're going to get an actual education.
Yeah.
The other thing is that we're always required to act as fiduciaries, unlike these other guys.
Always, not sometimes. Always.
Always.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
give us a call, though, 877-397-5666. That's 877-397-5666. And I know some of you listen on Sunday morning on another station.
Yeah.
I know some of you listen to our lot of you listen to our podcast around the country. The time to call is at 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, or noon to 2 on the West Coast, and you can fill in the blanks in the middle. Next week's show, by the way, will be coming live from two cities once again.
Yes.
From Seattle and Rapid City, South Dakota, under the watchful eye of 4 presidents.
I was just there. So
I know.
The two of us have been there within a month.
I'm going to actually here's my little travel log. You ready? Going to Glacier National Park,
which is an amazing place.
That I want to see at Fort Melts. Yeah. Then going down south to this little park called Yellowstone. A couple of you heard of it?
I thought it was Jellystone, but okay.
Jellystone,
yeah, all right.
And Grand Teton.
Beautiful places. Yeah, look at you.
Then heading over to Cody, Wyoming to stay in Buffalo Bill's first hotel, the Hotel Irma. You ever heard of it?
I have not, and I have not been to Cody. So
it's Buffalo Bill's first hotel. So
good. Okay. Can't
and then over to Rapid City for a couple of days
Watch your back.
To see the
Make
sights.
sure you sit against the wall at Buffalo Bill's place.
Oh yeah. Oh, and we're going to stop by Deadwood. So speaking of watching your back,
exactly.
You know, I'm not getting shot in the back in Deadwood.
Get
I'm telling
screwed.
you.
Yes.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Hold on a second. I'll be right there. Oh, I can't.
I thought you were jumping or something.
No, I was digging through I was trying to look in the mattress here at the hotel.
Yes.
I was just checking out the mattress here at the historic Davenport Hotel.
Indeed it is.
In beautiful Spokane, figuring it's the scam capital of the country. That some of that $50 trillion that's sitting in cash, where do you keep that much cash? I was going to check the mattress and see if it was in there.
Okay, got it now.
There's $50 trillion just sitting in cash worldwide. That's trillion with a trr. Sometimes I wonder why so much cash sits around. Don't you?
Well, no,
Tom?
I think. Thank you, Don. Yes, Don. I do. Wow, that is a softball even I could hit out of the park, and you know what a great poor hitter I am. But this comes up regularly. I met with a couple of people this week, and this is not an unusual circumstance. They sold a house. They got a lot of money. It's like 7 digits worth of money, right? That's kind of a lot of money. And it's been sitting in a bank for, in this case, about 9 months in an actual bank. And the question is, well, when should we invest that? Then because they think that we're going to tell them, you and I or somebody at our office is going to tell them, well, next Tuesday, that's the day to invest. Because that's what the industry sells you on, that they know the day to invest and the day to sell, right? Let me just put it another way. If your money is sitting in a bank, how much is it earning right now?
Hold on.
You can look that up. I mean, and it
zero.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
It's
zero. No, wait. Oh, wait. Negative. I'm sorry. I just forgot to inflation adjust.
But this is always okay. So here, let me explain something that I think people generally have trouble with. If you were to invest the money, and I didn't say take it all down and put it on one stock, or take it all down and put it in 13,000 stocks, because that's very risky. And this money these people may use for a purchase at some time.
Hang on. Let me go outside in Spokane and see what they might suggest.
Some great ideas.
Scam capital of the U.S.
Go down to Post Avenue there. They got some great ideas.
Post is right out the window.
It's right there. So, but here's the thing, all right? The inefficiency of $50 trillion is making somebody else a lot of money. Let me explain that. If your money's in the bank,
it is?
You go ahead.
Bank of America,
making
Chase.
a lot of money because you're just not doing so. So I went through the things you could do, right? One of them is, and you and I have a little debate about this from time to time, but you could put it in a bond fund of some kind. I recommend the Vanguard Short-Term Investment Grade Bond Fund.
Oh,
it has.
I thought you were going to say. Place it on the ponies or something.
That would be the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
You could use a tax exempt bond fund from Vanguard. That's one end of the spectrum. You could put some in stocks and some in bonds. You could put more in stocks. But the point, I think people forget, they think once the money's invested, they can't get it. I said, well, your money's at Charles Schwab. You could call them any day and have them send you the money. Now, there may be some volatility if you buy something in stocks, sure, but the money is still accessible.
Right.
I think people think they move it from the bank, they put it somewhere else. I can't get it. Well, why can't you get it? It's still
Well,
your
one of the
money.
things that everyone needs to know. One of the things we don't suggest you ever put your money in something that is illiquid. Anything illiquid.
Thank you.
Every single investment vehicle we would ever recommend to anybody, anywhere, clients or otherwise, is in something that is liquid at least on a daily basis. At the very least on a daily basis,
Yep.
if not minute by minute of liquidity.
Well, you can't sell a mutual fund till the end of the day, but yes.
Right, but
okay.
ETFs, for example,
Correct.
are minute by minute
That's right.
liquidity.
Yep.
But a mutual fund is at the end of the day, you can get it the very next
But
day.
your money is still there. It's available. So I think people have this notion that once I move it from my bank to an investment company of some kind or a mutual fund, I can't get it. No, of course you can get it. Now, if those things have gone up dramatically and then you need to sell something, then you're going to pay a capital gains tax rate on it, right?
But but what's wrong with paying tax on making
People
money?
they get confused. Or if you put the money in a retirement vehicle of some kind, then yes, when you take it out of that, you have to pay tax on it. And if it's before you're 59 and a half, you're going to have to pay a penalty on it. But in this case, it was simply money that's sitting around in a bank. And my advice
Okay,
was,
but I have to
do
ask you, what
something.
are they waiting for? What are they waiting for?
In this
What's
case,
the
they
thing?
may
What are you
have
thinking?
they may have a purchase, but I think generally people are waiting for the day they feel the market is safe. Then I'll put the money in. Once everything is settled, right? Once the economy is settled and the geopolitical situation is settled, then I'll invest. So until then, I'll leave it $50 trillion in the bank. Because, well, and I hate to break the news to you, they're investing it in some way that's making them way more than you are in their deposit account.
I have lived and kind of paid attention to the goings-on on this planet for about the past 6 decades. A couple of those years I wasn't paying much attention, but for most of them I was. And I pretty much don't recall a time of stability ever. Do you recall a geopolitically stable environment?
But if you look back, people are going to say, well, the 80s, you had Ronald Reagan, you knew what you were getting, and the economy was growing regularly, right?
No.
If you look
We
at
had
it
this-
short term, no, that was not the case.
We had the Soviet Union. We had Iran. We had, gee whiz, folks, come on. You know it'll never be stable, and that's the whole trick. The trick is and this is the thing that people don't get. So please, I'm asking all of you to listen carefully. If you put your money in something that is absolutely safe, you are absolutely guaranteeing you will not make money. And if you play this stupid little mind game with yourself where you go, well, back in the 80s, I was getting 12% on my money and it was safe.
Yeah.
You weren't getting 12% on your money because $1 one year was worth 12% less the next year.
We had that little thing called inflation at that time that was killing you. So
Why do we emotionally and even intellectually delude ourselves with such vigor? We are doing ourselves a disservice when we do this. You cannot, and please, this is the most important lesson you can possibly learn from this program. You cannot make money with no risk. Period. And anybody who tells you anything to the contrary is a bald-faced, absolute, no doubt about it, liar. 877-397-5666 every Saturday at noon Pacific, noon to 2 or 3 to 5 on the East Coast. And Lisa, it's your turn. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
hi, Lisa. How can we help you today?
Great. Thank you for accepting my call. I have kind of a generic question. I'm a 47-year-old single woman, and when I'm thinking about retirement, I'm wondering how to factor in really the variability of Social Security. I mean, I'm hoping it'll be around and not means-based tested by the time I retire. But how do you factor that in to retirement planning?
Well, here.
You
Okay,
don't.
let's go back. First of all, this notion that, again, Social Security is going out of business. I believe it's about 20 years down the road where the lines cross between how much is coming in and how much is being paid out. And remember, the government does have a number of IOUs against that money, the accounting part. But here's the way I look at it. If I was 47, I don't believe for people that are 40 years and older that there will be any change to the way that your benefit is calculated relative to the amount that is paid out. Now, under the age of 40, this is my personal opinion. I do think that they may make you wait longer to get that benefit because the system isn't paying for itself right now, and there may be some other means to that's a possibility. But at 47, I feel very safe that you could go online and look at a calculator, or go online and look at ssa.gov, see your benefit, see what your expected benefit, I mean, how much you've been paying in, what your benefit would be, and use that as a calculator. I think that is very fair.
Yeah, two things. One, I agree. I don't think Social Security is in imminent danger of collapse. I do think that the right thing to do, remember, Social Security was started in a period when the average life expectancy was about 65 years old. So people did not, on average, generally live into their 80s or 90s like they do on average today. So adjusting that retirement age up is a given. That has already happened. I should have been able to full retire at 65 years ago, and now it's 67 and a half or whatever. That's going to help bail it out. But the fact is, I don't believe you should factor in Social Security. You should go ahead and just assume for safety's sake that it's not there, and save enough to create the income that you will need to survive without it. And Social Security then becomes gravy. It becomes that cushion in case your calculations were wrong. Think of it as a cushion. Don't think of it as a given. And then you're forced to set up your personal scenario to take care of your need. Tom?
Was that a good answer, Lisa?
Excellent. Thank you both very much.
No, thank you.
You're very welcome.
And again, that's probably a smart way to look at it, because at 47 you still have a long time to save. You know, you could say, oh, okay, with that in mind, I need to increase my savings to 20% of my income a year, right? And get my employer match and think about all these things. So I think that's very good advice, Tom. But I would not.
That's the main reason, is because if you're 40, 35, 40, 45, even 50, you have time to change your life, the way you save and the way you invest. You have plenty of time to do that.
Yeah,
if you wait until you're in your 60s or 70s, different story.
But I want to blow up this idea, this notion, you hear a lot from people, well, I'll never get Social Security because it'll be gone. You're going to be, if you really believe that, there are going to be a lot of other major changes in the U.S. government, because that is a very vital, and look at it, and you said this, it shouldn't be a vital part of your retirement, but today it is a vital part of so many people's retirement that the idea that would go away, it'd be pitchforks and torches at the Capitol.
It was never, ever, 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 ever intended to be a primary source of retirement income. It was meant to be a social safety net, and it turned into
because people didn't save, because people didn't save. They didn't do anything else.
So why should I save? The government's going to take care of me. So take care of yourself first, and if you get something from the government down the road, which you probably will, take a trip if you saved enough. If not, it's your safety net. We'll be back with a lot more good stuff.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Real money. Serious dough. Tom, I just read something.
Yes, of course you did.
Legg Mason did a study of baby boomers, and the first batch of baby boomers, the 46 to 64 batch,
1946 through 1964. I think that's the entire baby boomer.
You're right. It is.
Okay. I don't know.
The entire group.
Yes.
When they took this study, they on average expected to have $660,000 on average saved for retirement by the time they retire.
660. And what's the reality?
260.
Yeah, it sounds more like it. Yeah.
260.
So let's just do the numbers. 260. Let's say you use the old 4% rule. Take out 4% of that a year.
Wow.
That's not very much. That turns out that's
almost homelessness.
$15,000 a year, which, yeah. So is it, the question, does that include your home, or is that liquid assets? I guess that would be the question.
It's not your home, not the home.
All right.
Not the home.
So
retirement investment.
Because there's ways to get the equity out of your home, I guess.
Yeah, you're looking, if you're at 260 and collect Social Security, you're still only going to be at about 30 grand. So, you're going to need to reverse mortgage your home or sell it. Mm-hmm. A lot of things you're going to have to do.
That don't work out. Yeah.
Right. And this is the lesson for those who are not approaching retirement age. You need to do something earlier, because the baby boomers blew it.
Yeah,
On
as
average,
a group, yeah,
they
definitely.
blew it.
Well, we can say we're part of the baby boomer generation.
I am,
Yes, I am
yes,
too,
and I did not save as much early on as I should have.
I know, and we knew.
And we're
in the middle of all this.
All of us are
Right.
dumb.
Yeah.
Trying to help you build a better portfolio and protect you from the people who would take advantage of you, apparently like the entire city of Spokane.
Well, Spokane, and you alluded to this earlier. I used to live in Spokane, and I enjoyed my time there. We brought you there once when you had a national, twice, right? Twice, I think, 2 times.
Yeah, and pretty much
national
all I
talk
saw
show
the
host.
first time I came out
was white.
were walls of snow.
Yeah,
I
I
don't think
remember
I
that.
saw a single building.
There
I
was
just saw walls of snow.
Berms they had built up there because it had snowed so much that winter.
I think we
amazing.
actually had a tunnel boring machine to get to the hotel. We
Pretty
just
close
went
to
right
that.
through the snow.
But weirdly, today we learned that Spokane 3 times in the last 20 years has been recognized by Forbes as the scam capital?
Scam capital
yeah.
of the U.S.
Yeah, it's just that seems very strange. They went through the reasons why, and they got some legit. There was a thing called Metropolitan Mortgage there that went bust that cost people $600 million. And here's the part that's going to make you mad: the guy running it, the other guys that were involved went to prison for 0 time, nothing. It's kind of strange. But I also, when I was looking around at all this, Don, I came across a relatively new fraud, because online stuff is still relatively new, right? I mean, in the big picture. Online dating fraud, which has become big. And here's the way it works.
Does it involve money?
Yes, it does. You're online, and you meet somebody in a dating site or whatever it is, and you develop a relationship. And generally, you don't ever meet that person because they might be in Texas and you might be somewhere else. So you develop a friendship, and then maybe it gets bigger than that, right? It's the friendship develops into a romance, okay?
Generally, that's the intent.
Yeah, okay. So you still haven't met this person, and they befriend you, and they're nice, and they get to know you. And then at some point
you find out they live in prison.
Well,
no,
it's
okay.
not that way. But in some point, that person says, "Gosh, I have a daughter, and she needs money for XYZ. Could you make me a loan of a certain amount?" Now,
Boy, those Nigerians are creative.
and that's exactly what it is. They've brought you in. They've developed. It could be a certain website that goes by FB. But you send them the money because you care about them. And by the way, a lot of people use the fact that I'm in the military and my kid is somewhere else and I don't have the money to take care of them.
Strapped for cash? Call 877-397-5666 and find out about special government programs that will help you pay your bills. Yes, the government has set aside money to help you pay your bills. 877-397-5666. Call now. Learn how to get free money from the government. I always wondered what those were. Did you ever wonder what those were? You've heard those ads,
Those
right?
are scam, by the way. And if you call that number, no, it's not the government program. It's stuffing envelopes from home where you can make $5,000 a week. Easy.
Easy.
By the way, you're stuffing envelopes, sending those envelopes to other people,
To somebody else to
scamming
try to
them.
get
Yeah,
them.
exactly. Yeah, you
but
got it.
I read in some paper today what that government scam is.
Yeah, what is it?
That what they're doing is they're selling you a routing number, an account number, and a routing number for a major for Federal Reserve accounts at the Federal Reserve Bank, and they're real routing numbers.
Yes.
But when you put those on your bill pay thing, they go to that bank and they get denied, and you get charged fees from your bank and late charges and all. They're selling routing numbers for government accounts. The Federal Reserve, there is no government program
For free
not
money?
a single one for free money for individuals to help them pay their bills.
Yeah.
And what I don't understand is why. Okay, never mind. I take it back.
Okay.
I do understand why people fall for that because, one, they think they're entitled. 2, they're gullible. 3, they're naive. And I always forget that half the population actually does have an IQ under 100 because that's the average. So there you go.
I'm going to let you say that. I'm going to say it sounds like a great deal and the government's running it, so sign me up.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Did we do that IQ test on you? I think it's time for the company mandated IQ test.
Yeah, okay. There's a few other company mandated tests I may fail as well. So
Apparently. Yeah. You ever notice where they advertise most of those things?
Let me guess. Late
Judge
night
Judy,
television.
no offense.
Yeah.
Judge Judy, no offense, but it's during your show,
Yeah.
Judge Judy.
And where you'll end up if you try to do that.
In front of
So,
Judge Judy.
Yeah.
So you believe the ads on my show? Huh? Huh? What kind of idiot are you? Huh? What kind of idiot are you?
where's Judge Wappler when you
Don't
need
argue
him?
with me. Shut it. Shut it now. I'm Judge Judy. Leave me alone. I hate being here.
Is she's still doing a show, right?
Heck yeah.
All right. I've never seen it, so what would I know? I'm too busy
Really?
reading a book, I guess.
Yeah.
Missing the good times.
I've been too busy just
And
doing
nobody called.
stuff,
Nobody
work.
called with the offer either, by the way. You weren't very convincing, apparently.
Visit Get Out of Debt Free on the back of your government. Yes, they love you so much that they're going to build you a free house.
Our
pay off all
producer
your
just
debt.
handed me this scam. Star on the Walk of Fame tool, Judge Judy. What about her? She has a star on the Walk of Fame. Walk of the Hollywood?
Okay.
Hollywood, okay. All right.
What?
So-
Can anybody get? Well, okay.
I don't know. Apparently. Yeah, sorry.
Anybody can
You
get
don't
one of
have
those?
one. I don't have one. That's why we're here still every Saturday.
I never had a TV show though. You did.
Yeah, that's true. I have an almost Emmy up on my wall from that.
An almost Emmy. I love that too. It's the almost Emmy.
Yeah, I got nominated.
I was nominated.
Yeah, it's like that guy. It was like the guy on American Greed, where they send out they send out a ballot to everybody. Every name, every person who came out with a record that year is named as a ballot. He claimed that he was nominated because he was on the ballot. And he would say, I was nominated. You're one of 8,000 people that released a song that year. No, that's not nominated. They made him take that down. So after he
Folks
scammed a lot of people out of their money, of course.
Folks like to puff up their resume
You
just
think?
a bit.
I don't even mention my nomination anymore. That was
Here's
years
what
past.
there's a message though that goes with this Federal Reserve thing and all of the other stuff that we talk about when as it relates to people misleading you about
Yes.
financial gains. If it sounds too good to be true, it not only probably is too good to be true, I would even go a step farther and say, yeah, it is.
And
Wealth
yet,
without risk,
we
free
wanna
government
believe it.
money.
Why do we want to believe it? As human beings, why do we want when you hear those things, and you know that if you let it sift for a minute, but people want to
gotta tell
believe
you,
it. They want it.
Never once in my life, not one single time, have I ever thought any of this stuff was true. Not a single time. And again, I guess it goes back to we would all like to think we're of above average intelligence, but really half of us are of below average intelligence. That's the whole point of the average. So I'm sorry, folks, if you're in that latter half, but
Then you better pay
need,
closer attention.
You need to pay closer attention.
Because you're gonna get scammed and accelerate apparently when you drive through Spokane, which is the scam capital, right?
Well, I'm leaving soon.
You'll
I'm
be
leaving
okay.
soon.
You're out of there.
I was trying to figure out. This is an aside. I know in Seattle.
I think this whole half hour has been an aside, but go ahead.
In Seattle, there are a lot of businesses that are obviously driving the Seattle economy. I come into Seattle and I go, oh look,
No,
Microsoft's on a building.
There's one that's really driving it. That now employs 20% of the people in Seattle. 20%.
Who's that?
Amazon.
They employ 20% of the people in Seattle.
I just read it in the paper this morning. 20%.
2 out of every 10 jobs is Amazon.
Their real estate is 40 times large. The amount that they rent 40 times larger than the next person. 40
folks.
times.
All of you in Seattle better hope that the rest of the country shops
and
at Whole Foods soon.
I heard a national commentator yesterday say, well, Seattle exports software and it exports planes and it exports coffee. No, it exports online retailing. That's what it exports.
But still,
You
you,
gotta
got
hope it works.
Microsoft, you got
Yeah,
Boeing,
we got
you
some
got
other
Amazon,
places, yeah.
you got Costco,
Yeah.
you got Starbucks,
Yeah, we
you
got
got
a
a
few,
lot
yeah.
of big corporations that make their base there. As I'm driving into Spokane yesterday, I'm looking around going, and I think this about cities. I go, what drives the economy? You know, in some cities it's farming, some cities it's oil, in some cities it's mining. You can tell what it
True.
is. You were
Yep.
an ex-Spokaner.
Yeah.
What drives? What is the
Spokane
underlying
was
driver?
the capital of the Inland Empire. So you had.
What does that mean?
I'm getting to that. The hospitals. You got people that come from places outside of there for those services. That's why it's there.
Couldn't they go to Coeur d'Alene?
No, Coeur d'Alene does not have that kind of health care. It doesn't have all those services.
Okay. All the good stuff. So,
Yeah, so
basically what
that's
you're
why it was
saying is
there.
it's,
Yep.
it's a regional hub for all
Exactly. That's why it was there. And by the way,
Because I go,
it
all right, there's an Air
means-
Force Base.
it means children of the sun, not children of the scam, as somebody had alluded to earlier. Children of the sun. That's the Indian meaning.
I misread it. Well, it's a
Children
complex dictionary.
of the
whatever
sun.
tribe that was. Children of the sun.
Exactly.
I'm going to leave the last segment of the show to you
Because I'm going to do it so well. That's why.
you're going to do it better than I. And then next week I'll be in Rapid City annoying you from there. Won't that be fun?
We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestry, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. Should keep the lawyers happy.